TDS just released a new event tower obtained from beating the 2024 Christmas event, Elementalist. This is a support tower, albeit with some surprising damage, with its main feature being its ability to switch between a fire and ice mode, with ice turrets and heat beams for either side. In this review, we'll go through the stats of each level, pros and cons, tips, and deciding how to rank it. Let's get right into it. Starting at level 0, it starts off with a fire rate of 0.6, range of 12, and damage of 3. This leads to a total DPS of 5 at a cost of 2000 cash. This level, their fire and ice stats are quite weak, with the fire dealing roughly 2.5 DPS and ice dealing 5% chill each shot. Following that on level 1, the range gets increased to 15, damage increases to 5, which leads to a DPS of 8.3 for a cost of 1500 cash. But the fire and ice effects both get increased by roughly 75% as well. Now on level 2 is where this tower gets a lot more interesting. First, his range gets increased to 17 and damage doubles all the way to 10, as well as unlocking hidden detection. Now its DPS for ice specifically is 38.8 DPS at a cost of 4000 cash. As fire mode's damage is dependent on a lot of factors, it's hard to calculate a good estimate for it, so I'm not doing that. Now more importantly, it gets its signature abilities. Now in its ice mode, it gets a temporary ice turret ability that can slow and damage enemies. It has the following stats: a fire rate of 0.45, range of 10, damage of 10 for a DPS of 22.22, which is honestly pretty good. As for its fire mode ability, it gets a heat wave that damages and pushes back all enemies in a circular range around it. It deals 150 damage, has a range of 12.5, burn damage of 10, and knockback of 20. Honestly, this ability feels kind of mid, as the knockback is barely noticeable, making the damage the only thing to really concentrate on. Next up, we have level 3. Its fire rate gets increased to 0.5, damage gets increased to 12, for a total ice DPS of 81.1 at a cost of 8000 cash. The ice turrets get some buffs, with its fire rate now being increased to 0.35 and damage doubling to 20. The heat wave meanwhile has its damage increased to 250, range to 13.5, burn damage to 15 and knockback to 22.5. On its final upgrade level 4, its fire rate increases to 0.4 and its damage gets slightly increased to 15 for a total ice DPS of 137.5 at a cost of 15,000 cash, which is surprisingly not too bad for a support tower. Now how it gets all that damage is basically all from the ice turret. Its fire rate increases to 0.3, damage increases to 30, as well as being able to fully freeze enemies on its own now, making it pretty powerful. The fire side on the other hand has its heat wave damage increased to 400, range increased to 15, burn damage to 20 and knockback to 25. Overall, although the damage basically triples, the knockback barely increased, which is slightly disappointing. But yeah, now moving on, let's move to the pros and cons. Pros. It's a versatile tower, with it being able to switch between fire and ice. Fire and ice can also mix for some reason, making mix and match possible, which shouldn't have been possible an update ago, but I guess they changed it. It's also pretty cost efficient for a support tower, besides level 4 anyway, I think. Cons. It's not particularly great at anything. I would not use its fire side over Golden Pyromancer, for example. It's annoying to fully utilize the tower, as you need to always be using its abilities. The placement limit of 5 does not make it viable for a lot of loadouts. It does not benefit from support towers much, since its abilities don't stack with them. Next up, we have tips. This tower has abilities that don't get buffed by Commander nor DJ, so generally using this tower without any support is generally not a bad idea. I'd recommend fire mode for level 0 to 1, and then it's personal preference for ice or fire based on if your defense needs single target damage or splash damage. Ice for single targets, fire for crowd, so based on what your team needs more. When using fire mode, change its targeting to random, so the fire effect goes on as many zombies as possible, thus maximizing damage. Overall, the tower is pretty solid. I think fire and ice mix again now, so it makes a great combo. It's nothing too OP, so I want to give it B tier, but I think it might just squeeze into A tier. Yeah, why not? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe 50k before the end of the year, please. 2 weeks, please, bye.